You aren't lazy. You're just exhausted from fighting a war against a version of yourself that doesn't actually exist. Today you will realize when looking into the mirror every morning, you are not staring at a failure. You are staring at a biological masterpiece that is currently being mismanaged. If you've ever felt like you're stuck in the mud while everyone else is sprinting, this video is for you. By the end of this video, you're going to understand the invisible emergency brake in your brain that's actually causing your stagnation, and more importantly, how to finally let it go so you can start moving. Identifying that you aren't lazy is a massive relief, but that relief is short-lived if you don't understand why your internal navigation system keeps stalling, which brings us to the broken compass. Imagine you're in a dense forest. You have a map, a destination, and plenty of water. But every time you try to take a step forward, your legs feel like they weigh 500 pounds. You sit down, frustrated, and call yourself lazy. But the reason you aren't moving isn't a lack of willpower. The real culprit is that your internal compass is spinning in circles because it's terrified of where you're trying to go. When your brain perceives a goal as a threat to your safety or your identity, it pulls the plug on your energy levels. It's not laziness, it's a protective lockout. It's like your brain is a strict parent saying, "I'm not letting you go to that party because I'm pretty sure you're going to get hurt." Having a clear direction is a great start, but even a perfect map won't help if your brain is terrified of the destination's hidden price, leading us into the cost of the perfect future. The first big realization we need to have is about the identity tax. Every time you set a massive goal, like becoming a straight-A student or a six-figure entrepreneur, your brain does a quick audit. It looks at who you are now and who that future you is. If the gap is too wide, your brain panics. It thinks, if we become that person, the current version of us has to die. And your ego is a survivalist. It doesn't want to die, so it creates resistance. This looks like scrolling through TikTok for 4 hours when you should be studying or researching on the new business venture. You're not scrolling because you love the plethora of reels on your feed that you did not ask for. You're scrolling because it's a safe harbor where no one is asking you to change. Let that sink in for a second. Protecting your identity keeps you safe, yet that safety turns into stagnation when you lack the visual data needed to see the path forward, a problem solved by overcoming the clarity paradox. We often think we need motivation to start. This is the biggest lie in the self-improvement world. You don't need motivation. You need a target that doesn't look like a blur. Vagueness is the ultimate energy killer. If you tell your brain, "I want to be successful," your brain hears, "I want to wander into a dark cave with no flashlight." Of course it's going to make you feel tired. It's trying to keep you from wandering into the dangers. When a goal is foggy, your brain treats it as a high-risk activity. It allocates 0 calories to high-risk activities unless there's a lion chasing you. This is why you can suddenly find the energy to finish a term paper at 3 a.m. the night before it's due. The lion of a failing grade is finally behind you. But living life only when being chased by lions is a great way to spike those stress levels. If you're finding this helpful so far, do me a favor and hit that thumbs up as it helps with the algorithm. Now back to the brain fog. Defining your target removes the fog. But even a clear target can become a source of pain if you begin attacking your own character for not reaching it yet, sparking the shame spiral. Here is where it gets dangerous. You realize you aren't doing the work. You feel guilty. You tell yourself, "I'm just a lazy person." This is the shame spiral. Once you label yourself as lazy, your brain accepts it as an identity. And humans will do almost anything to remain consistent with their identity. It's a weirdly comfortable prison. If you're just lazy, you don't have to face the fear of failing. You didn't fail because you weren't good enough. You failed because you didn't try hard enough. It's a shield. Breaking free from self-blame is the only way to heal your mindset. But to keep that mindset stable, you have to understand the literal biology of fear, known as the amygdala hijack. Let's get a bit scientific for a second. Deep in your brain, you have a tiny almond-shaped part called the amygdala. Its only job is to look for danger. In the Stone Age, danger was a saber-toothed tiger. Today, danger is a to-do list that feels overwhelming. When you look at a goal that feels too big, your amygdala triggers a freeze response. It's the same response a deer has in headlights. The deer isn't lazy. The deer is literally paralyzed by a neurological overload. You aren't refusing to work because you're a slacker. You're refusing to work because your amygdala has hijacked your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that actually does the planning. To break it, we don't need more hustle. We need to convince the amygdala that we are safe. Recognizing your brain's survival response stops the panic, but you actually get moving again. You need a strategy to shrink those threats down to size, using the art of the micro-move. So, how do we lower the threat level? We use the micro-move strategy. If your goal is to write a 1,600-word essay, your amygdala sees a mountain. If your goal is to open a Google Doc and type the title, your amygdala stays asleep. The secret to ending laziness is making the first step so incredibly small that it feels stupid to say no. You aren't lowering your standards. You're tricking your brain's security system. Once the dock is open, the threat usually disappears. The hardest part of a run isn't the 5 miles, it's putting on the shoes. Taking small steps creates the initial momentum you need, but that momentum will quickly fizzle out if your physical surroundings are whispering for you to quit, which is why we need the environment audit. Sometimes it's not even your brain. Sometimes it's your room. We often blame our character for things that are actually caused by our environment. If you put a world-class athlete in a room with a TV, a couch, and a mountain of junk food and tell them to just be disciplined, they are going to struggle. Don't rely on willpower. Instead, design your space so that the easy choice is the right choice. Optimizing your space removes the external friction from your life. But all the external fixes in the world won't matter until you confront the internal emotional barrier of the true culprit. The real culprit behind your failed goals isn't laziness. It's unmanaged anxiety. It's the quiet, humming fear that if you try and fail, you'll have to admit you aren't as talented as you hoped. It's the fear that if you succeed, your life will change in ways you can't control. It's the overwhelm of not knowing the perfect first step. When you call yourself lazy, you're attacking the symptom, not the disease. The disease is a lack of clarity and a surplus of fear. Once you address those, the laziness evaporates like mist in the sun. You'll find that you actually want to do things. You have a natural drive to create, to learn, and to grow. You just have to stop suffocating it with high expectations and self-criticism. Once you face the underlying anxiety holding you back, the lazy label disappears forever, allowing you to tie together everything we discussed today. To wrap this up, you aren't broken, you're just using an outdated operating system. We talked about how laziness is often just your brain's way of protecting you from a perceived threat, how vagueness kills your energy, and why your environment might be sabotaging your best intentions. By shifting from "I'm lazy" to "I'm overwhelmed" or "unclear," you reclaim the power to actually change. This mindset shift is the difference between a life of regret and a life of momentum. You'll feel lighter, more capable, and far less stressed when you stop being your own harshest critic. Today's small win is the 2-minute rule. Whatever goal you've been avoiding, commit to doing just 2 minutes of it right after this video. Not 5, not 10. 2. If you want to work out, do 2 minutes of jumping jacks. If you want to write for 2 minutes. This proves to your amygdala that the task isn't a threat, breaking the paralysis and building that crucial initial momentum. If this gave you clarity today, let me know in the comments. I go through each comment and it helps me create more videos that can benefit you. If you watch me, you'll feel calmer, clearer, and more in control. Like and subscribe for more tools to help your brain work with you, not against you. Don't miss my next video, carefully crafted to dive deeper into these and many more concepts. It'll take your results to the next level in no time. Thanks for watching.